What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today I want to talk a little bit more about Michael Pittman Jr. And yesterday we looked back on, some of his 2023 tape and what he was able to do to ensure that he was going to get the contract to be a number one wide receiver. He ends up getting that from the Colts, or people have speculated he would go elsewhere to get his money. Ends up staying with the Colts for, I believe it's $23 million a year, 23.3 if I'm correct, is the amount that Michael Pittman Jr. is getting. And when you look at 2024 and what he's able to do, I think the price that we get him for is perfect. I think there's so many options in this offense that you might not see Michael Pittman Jr. having massive numbers. Now, last year with Gardner Minshew throws for 3,305 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Then Michael Pittman Jr. ends up with 109 catches, 1,152 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So he had a very successful 2023 season, even with Gardner Minshew. Gardner, outside of Phillip Rivers, probably the best quarterback that Pittman's played with. And now, as long as AR stays on the field, this is going to be the best quarterback that Pittman's had. But now we have AD Mitchell, who's going to definitely be getting himself open. He's young and more. I think AD Mitchell and AR probably have a lot more in common than what Pitt and AR probably have in common. It just going based off the kinds of things that these guys do in their free time. So, in my opinion, Josh Downs and AD Mitchell could be big parts of this offense. Again, Josh Downs going into a second season, and having that connection with AR. So I expect him to continue to be a big part of this offense. I expect AD Mitchell to have a really good rookie year, like offensive rookie of the year type of season from AD Mitchell. So for me, going into this season, when I look at all the different matchups right there, different games where I think we could pass a lot, right? You look at both of the Jaguars games, I expect us, probably to pass the ball a decent bit. The Dolphins game, probably going to pass a bit. Both the Texans games, probably going to be passing a good bit. The Packers game, the Bills game could go either way. Jets game, right? If they're good with Aaron Rodgers, hey, maybe we have to pass the ball a lot against that team. So there are different games this year. The Lions, different games throughout the season in 2024 that could end up being shootouts, games where we could end up behind and have to pass the ball. So if that's the case, that's where you see Michael Pittman Jr.'s numbers getting bumped up. But there are also a lot of games where I think it could be run heavy. AR running the ball, Jonathan Taylor running the ball. So coming into this year, I'm trying to take all these different factors into account when I'm coming up with Michael Pittman Jr.'s numbers. What do I project for him to do? He's still the guy. He's the vet in the room. He's sure-handed, right? He'll drop some passes every now and then, but Michael Pittman Jr. is our number one wide receiver. At the end of the day, he's the guy that's been here long. He's the guy that we're going to look to when you need it. You got to have it. You're looking at Michael Pittman Jr. Now, I do think AD Mitchell can step up into that role as well. Like, you got to have it looking at AD because he's explosive and he can catch the ball. So, again, because the Colts have options, we're probably not going to see him have massive numbers, and people are going to start to doubt whether or not he's worth the contract that he just got paid. With the wide receiver money being the way it is, I think what I'm projecting for him is perfectly reasonable for what he's making. So I still think he puts up good numbers, right? You look at um, a couple years ago, 2022, when it wasn't a productive year at all, for the entire Colts offense, and he still almost had 100 catches, right? So Michael Pittman Jr., in my opinion, I think 95 catches is the floor with him, right? He might not go and have 125 and be one of those guys, but I think he's too consistent. Is able to get himself open too often. I think 95 catches is a good number for Michael Pittman Jr. in 2024. When you look at yardage, I could see him getting to 1,000 yards. I think projecting 900 plus is probably safer again because there's so many different options. Like, just at receiver, you're going, AD Mitchell, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce. And then obviously we have Ashton Doolin coming back. What kind of role is he going to play in the offense? Jonathan Taylor's on the field. You also have Jelani Woods and Drew Ogletree, Kylan Granson, Will Mallory, Mo Alley Cox, right? Our slew of tight ends. There's so many different options for Anthony Richardson and so many guys that we expect to touch the ball, right? We're all expecting Jelani Woods, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be the guy and he's going to be on the field a lot. And there's a chance he could get the ball a lot. So, I think 95 catches, 950 yards is a good number for Michael Pittman Jr. in 2024. And I think that's okay with what I'm projecting for the offense as a whole, right? You know, Jonathan Taylor, we talked about him. My projection for him was 1,700 plus total yards. And I think it was 15 total touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor. And Anthony Richardson, I had him at like 3,500 yards. So for this offense, I'm expecting a lot. And Pittman's going to be one of the biggest parts of that, and what he's able to give us week in, week out is going to be one of the biggest parts of that. Now, again, wouldn't be surprised if he got over 1,000, right? We could see Michael Pittman Jr. get 95 catches, 1,100 yards, right? Because he has the explosive ability that we talked about yesterday, and that downfield ability that he doesn't get a whole lot of credit for, but that he can definitely be a part of. So going into 2024, it'll be interesting to see how the offense works exactly. Will it go in a way that I'm expecting, where there are going to be a lot of different guys getting the ball, or will Pittman continue just kind of be who Pittman is and get the ball, 8+ times a game and end up with 115 catches next season? That's going to be the interesting thing as we go in. So many young guys, a lot of young talent with Josh Downs and AD Mitchell. So I'm excited to see how the offense works. Of course, I'd like to know what your opinion is of all this down in the comment section. You let me know. And of course, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you continue to get notified. Josh Downs is going to be the next one we're talking about. But we're going to keep going through tape as we wait for training camp to come around. And I'm going to want your guys' opinion on it all. So again, subscribe, have notifications turned on. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.